Very good evening. A special class on your 10 years question paper as promised. Answer writing. I have been often asked, okay, let's begin the session now. Answer writing is a challenge which is the next stage after learning and comprehensively reading the syllabus. And I have been telling you several times that answer writing consists of three distinct stages or three distinct set of preparations. One will be your handwriting. It really matters. Then your graphical presentation. How many diagrams, graphs, maps, and how beautifully it has been presented. And third will be the content. Content doesn't mean always the factual content. Facts with analysis and obviously connected to current affairs. So today we will examine also the role of the current affairs in geography and geography paper 2. I will be taking up today physical geography of India and also the contemporary issues. I will see questions. You can demand certain questions, you can put forward certain ideas, you can put forward certain questions. So we'll have an open session today. You can type your questions and ask directly. You can ask your questions from anywhere. Okay, it's a very open session today, so you can ask from anywhere. You can ask from any test series. You can ask from any state services examination. UPSC 2015 to 5-6 years question, so it is on my card only. I mean, I'm going to discuss 5-6 years of UPSC questions. I find the PCS questions to be too straight, and a simple reading of class notes will help you in getting very high marks. And it's a proven formula. It's a time-tested formula for PCS examinations. For UPSC, the notes are very useful, but then you have to apply yourself. And then you have to interlink several concepts from physical to human to economic. And if you haven't learned that art of linking the different aspects of different perspectives of geography, then students will find it very difficult to score. In recent years, I have seen people are doing very well in paper 2, but not so good in physical geography. Reasons are that in physical geography, some of the questions are twisted and some of the questions are from very sacrosanct books of geography which are only read at a very higher stage, like JNU MSc Geography, PhD Geography, like Thornbury's book. So some questions have emerged from certain books which are highly specialized. And some questions have come from Rupa Made Simple series. And even one or two questions I could see from the Penguin Dictionary. So in paper 1, physical geography, you have to make a combination of my class notes with at least Penguin Dictionary and Rupa Made Simple. Even though I have tried to incorporate everything which I could recall at those moments, but still maybe I might have missed out one or two words. So always remember that coaching institutes and a very good coaching teacher, your mentor, can only make you capable by 60 to 70%. The rest will be your intelligence, your hard work, your capabilities to reproduce your knowledge, put forth your ideas, your diction, your language. Some people read very less, but they can write more, they can express more, they are very eloquent. And some people read more, but they are very inexpressive. When you ask them, they will be stuck. They don't even speak sufficiently. And now there are a certain set of people who can write very well but cannot speak. Some people can speak very well but cannot write. There are very different set of examples which I have witnessed in my career. Now remember this formula, that if you are a voracious reader and if you can reproduce what you read, what you think is not important for UPSC, so much so. What you read and what you can reproduce will be much more effective than what you think. The questions are pretty straight. The questions demand informations, facts, and partly analysis. Say there is a question on industrial location. Already analysis has been done in different models. So you have to take the gist of those models and produce them in a different way, maybe by citing certain current examples. So as I said, good handwriting combined with your presentation of facts, data, maps, diagrams, and third, your knowledge, your content. And then I said, students who not only read but also can write, can reproduce the same. Your handwriting matters, your velocity matters, time management matters, your cool, calm conditions matters more than your cranial capacity. If you are cool-headed guy, you perform better. If you panic, you lose. So there are a few things which you have to remember, and before writing any mains or before writing any test, evaluating yourself, you have to be very alert, high on alert, and really off from any mundane, any worldly cacophony, any noise. Your brain should be entirely focused on your geography, your geographical concepts, your notes, your books. क्या होता है कि say you are going to write your mains and you are traveling in a bus or a metro, and in a metro for a small things you can got irritated, even that matters. So on such eventful day, when your destiny is going to be fixed, I will not call it tryst with destiny like Nehruji, but your destiny will be fixed on that day. That is a very eventful day. On that eventful day, if you have a bad incidence or even something, some accident or some event or some kuch bhi, which is taking you off, your performance will be affected. And trust me, You have every right to travel in a taxi if you are moving, if you are going for writing mains. You have every right. That is not the moment when you have to think of those 500 rupees or 700 bucks. No, don't think of them. We are so habitual of thinking about saving money in India that sometimes we forget that where we have to spend. So that is the moment where you have to spend that money. I was a student also, and I used to think more or less like you. So I was also about saving money on the wrong occasions and spending them again on the wrong occasions. Some relative came and I was cooking 5 varieties of sabji and paneer and puris and to make him happier. I could never make him happier. Still he had complaints. But I won't spend on my own travel to my law faculty, my college or whatever. So I learned with time. You also learn that you have to spend on yourself on the particular occasions which you think when you are important. And that's your day. And that day can change your fate. And also I will suggest you that when you are going for writing mains examination, you have to dress up well. Take good bath, go for morning ablutions and prepare yourself mentally, physically. Then travel in a good car, reach there, feel good, feel smart. And when you are dressed up and you are looking good, then your performance will be enhanced. I tell you that all this matters only 5%, but in such cutthroat competition, even those 5% matters. 1 and 1.5 marks matter for your, qualifying prelims. Some people will find all these talks to be nonsense, and because they think that they are too smart, and not you, of course, not you. And this class is meant for my geography students, not for all. Okay, so one more, I will take another 5 minutes talking about the examination conditions and all. So when you enter the examination hall, don't complain about the noise of the fan, the sound which is traffic sound which is tearing you apart, the benches which are in dilapidated condition. Kya bolo? You have to sit on the edge of the bench maybe, and your desk also could be dwindling. Tremors aa raha hai, usme bhi earthquake aayega. So don't complain about all this, because you have to adjust there. Keep your water bottle along your side and take one good gulp of water. Hold the water in your mouth. It gives you, do some box breathing before the paper comes. Do some box breathing just to consolidate yourself, to compose yourself. That composer is, I'm not saying you will be decomposed, but you have to, fear can decompose us, no doubts. So some people have this fear, they look very decomposed at the moment of examination, trials, interviews. They never give their best. So how to give your best is also the challenge. So maybe before the question paper arrives at you, you have to take a gulp of water and chew the water. Then hold it for a while in your mouth, keep chewing it, take another gulp of water, and then just cool down. Then comes the invigilator and the process starts. Don't watch. No bird watching in the class. They're all your compatriots. सब ऐसे मानो कि सब भाई बहन बैठे हुए हो. बहुत लोग वहीं से बड़ा बड़ा ड्रीम शुरू कर देता है कि अच्छा, she looks good, she will qualify, even I will qualify, then we will be in the training academy. ये जो उम्र है ना यार, दिस उम्र 20, 25, 30, हार्मोन्स ही ऐसा होता है कि ड्रीम्स क्रिएट करता है. तो सम पीपल विल बिकम ड्रीमी लुकिंग एट, छोड़ो, इस पे इलेबोरेट नहीं करेंगे. डोंट गेट ड्रीमी, डोंट गेट इमोशनल. समवन विल रिकॉल हिज हर फादर that I'm writing mains, writing prelims, and I'm writing it for my father, for my mother, for my whoever. Now you get emotional. And when you get emotional, your performance again will be down. So do away with all the thoughts which are so-called positive, but they are giving negative feedback to you and creating some kind of fear. Anyway, so be in a state of thoughtlessness. Then comes the question paper, and take the question paper. I've seen people taking the question paper and then praying to God. भगवान आज बचा लेना ईश्वर. हे भगवान, ऐसा क्वेश्चन जो पढ़ के आए हैं सर नोट्स में, भगवान वही दे देना. ओके भगवान, थैंक यू. ओ जय माँ सरस्वती, ओम लिखा, कोई 786 लिखा क्वेश्चन पेपर पे. अपना अपना फेथ है. देन ही स्टार्टेड रीडिंग, एंड द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन was on pseudo-volcanism, and what he had learned was volcanism. You will feel that the earth has started sliding down. Oh my God, अब क्या होगा? Second question, डरते हुए देख रहा है ऐसे नीचे करते हुए. Second question is looking at. The second question was on, say, what? The Winternitz Commission. Oh my God, I didn't know. क्या होगा? Chill through their spine. You will have a chill through their spine. Almost blinding effect. And the clouds of, dark clouds of hopelessness will hover around his mind, and then he is gasping for air. Suddenly all those god and goddesses have turned up against him, and all those prayers and family and all these pressures. It's a very, very complex situation. That it's a very odd condition. I have been into this situation, so I can relate very well. I can see this happening to many, many students. So I really want you to be aware of how it goes in the examination hall. Now, there could be different set of a student. Smart one, powerful ones. Looking at the first question, pseudo-volcanism. He will read it twice. Pseudo-volcanism, pseudo. Then if you look at the Hindi question, Chhadma Jwalamukhi, Chhadma Jwalamukhi. He will recall my lecture. Pseudo-monsoon. Looks like monsoon, but the mechanism of monsoon is not there. So it is pseudo-monsoon. But the properties, characteristics, the outer phenomena, not the intrinsic phenomena, but the outer phenomena is the same. So pseudo-monsoon. It's not a volcano, but it looks like a volcano. The volcanicity or the mechanism of volcanism is not there. So it must not be about the plate tectonics and collision of plates. Must not be about the partial melting of the subducting plate and formation of magma. It might not be that, but something of that sort, volcanism. He has started thinking on positive lines. He is a fighter. He is going to fight. He is going to take on this paper. He could be wrong also. When it comes to arriving at the conclusion, he could be wrong also, but he's a fighter. Look at the instinct of that student. And finally, he starts writing. So he writes, pseudo-volcanism resembles eruption of material from the crust, but none of the volcanic processes are found. Can you say that this statement was wrong? No, this is correct. Now this is how he has started writing on it. He's a courageous man. Then what happens that when you start writing, then he will write on involcanism, the partial melting of the plate and vulcanization, ये सब लिखेगा. तो इसको एक लाइन में और लिख दिया. Then he will write, but in pseudo-volcanism, none of these processes follow. The eruption is not because of the geological factors, but because of the environmental. He doesn't know anything about it. मुझे तो पता है. हमसे don't expect that I will give you the right definition of pseudo-volcanism. It's not my test. I am telling you the situation there and the ideas which can prevail in the mind of a very smart student. So I'm talking about those ideas. I'm not trying to define pseudo-volcanism. So we talk about those, about the environmental factors and the crustal factors and the dynamic factors of the crust. He will start writing on those lines. He is correct. And instead of magma flow, the earthen materials comes out, the liquefied soil comes out, soil-like material comes out. He will start writing all that. He will get marks. And always remember that 1 is bigger than 0. And this 1 determines your fate, and that courage determines your fate. And I'm promising you that examiner, where that question is not understood by any student. If not you, then no one. Remember it. There will be hardly even 1% student writing on pseudo-volcanism, because this was unexpected. This question came from a different planet, out of world, nowhere mentioned in common books. Nobody reads Thornbury. Not even teachers will go for research work in Thornbury to find out pseudo-volcanism. So, you will score 3 to 4 out of 10, and that's decent marks. That's cool. That's actually cool. You have done it. This is what courage can do to you. This is what your spontaneous reaction, your what? Your steadfastness of your mind. Steadfastness of your mind can produce results. I hope you understood this. This is how you have to fight it out. Okay? Now, then came the second question. मैं खुद ही भूल गया क्या था second question. So, in second question, he was also stuck. But I am promising you that the question number 3, 4, 5, they are all going to be easier than the first 1 or 2. Meaning, at least 80% question paper, say out of 20 questions printed, you have to write 10 questions, ना? ऐसे example ले रहा है. So if you have to write on 10 questions, you don't have to write on all the 20. So 10 questions ही तो करना है. So if you know 60% of the paper, then you can write on 90%. मान लो 1-2 में कहीं फंस भी गए. So we still you have 90% idea about that question paper. But what happens that when we look at these odd questions, our brain will pick all these odd questions, and then looking at those odd questions, we decide our fate. We declare that the geography has again spoiled my career. You declare, यहाँ पे शुरू हो जाता है conversation. You have to stop this conversation and fight it out. And the day we learn how to fight it out, you will be in the top ranks, because this formula does not apply only in geography, it applies everywhere. Say pink revolution came, and I have no idea what is pink revolution, but I knew what is green revolution, I knew what is red revolution. So it definitely has to do with some agro product. प्राइमरी सेक्टर का कुछ होगा ये रेवोल्यूशन. तो मैंने लिख दिया कि पिंक रेवोल्यूशन इज ए कोरोलरी टू ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन. गलत है क्या? नहीं. हाउ पिंक रेवोल्यूशन कैन lead to the betterment of the farmer and regional development and planning and rural development, and you can relate it with anything. तो कुछ तो लिखा. 2, 3 out of 10 is still better than 0. The one who is writing at the top, मान लो pink revolution was known to Mr. X, and he had just read outside and he is writing on a pink revolution. He knows everything about pink revolution. I am telling you, still he will get 5 and he will get 2.5. So you have reduced the margin, na? So once you have, then there will be different questions where you are scoring more than him, because you are my student. So you are scoring more than him, and at every place, say out of 20 questions, you have scored 1, 2, 1, 2 extra everywhere. Your marks will be 300, 290, 270. Or it could be, if you are brilliant, then you can score 350 also. Depends on the question paper, depends on those moments, depends on your memorization. Lot of criteria will come to play then. It's not just one that you read geography, so you must score in geography. No, it doesn't happen. So if you are scoring 1, 2, 1, 2 at 10 places in 2 papers, so he will score 250, he will score 280. And 30 marks actually matter. Now same will be applied for your general studies as well. So if you read general studies, the question paper of recent years, it needs more application of your mind than your actual factual knowledge. It needs more application. I hope you understood, and I hope you will remember my suggestions, which might sound out of place to many students, because these days new generation creates fear in my mind when I talk about all this power of brain and concentration and the mental condition and box breathing. Then I'm fearful, because people are going to ridicule you. They haven't experienced all this, and they are never going to experience it also. They will prepare in Mukherjee Nagar, Karol Bagh for 4-5 years without even qualifying in prelims. They will go back home, and the causes which they will cite will be A, the coaching was bad, B, the teacher was terrible, C, he was just unlucky and missed by 1 mark every time, D, he was misguided by some of his colleagues and friends. He will never blame himself. But remember, who is to be blamed? You being the master of your own fate. You have to take all the blemishes for what you achieve in your life. What I am today, or what I missed out in my life, is because of my faults, my erroneous judgments. Okay. So I hope you are prepared mentally for discussion on the question paper, the physical geography of India, and some questions from contemporary issues. I have been told by several students that geography questions are now completely current affair based. I beg to differ from them. Yes, they do have tinge of some tail of current affairs, but the question, if you read them as a whole, the question demands deep geographical knowledge. The foundational knowledge of geography is still required, and you have to differentiate your writing from those who write general study type geography. So we'll have a discussion today. Let's begin now. And tell me how many agreed to my point of view. You have a right to disagree. In democracy and in my classes, there is no Hitlerism. There is nothing despotic. You have a right to differ. So if you agree, write agree. And let's go to our question paper number. This is paper 2, physical setting. We have done all these topics. Now, I don't know why it starts with 2018. Okay, no issues. Whatever questions from physical geography are there, it is there in my list. The entire list is there. And also I will take out the 19 and 20 question paper. I think it is with me. But starting with any question you can demand. Any question you can, starting with 2018 only. Distinguish the geographical aspect of northwestern lava plateau and Chotanagpur Plateau of peninsular India. देखो, the interrogative term is distinguish. There is an interrogative term. So what is the meaning of distinguish? Then the geographical aspect of northwestern lava plateau and Chotanagpur Plateau of peninsular India. Now, the demand of the question is geographical aspects. Geographical aspects is the demand. Now, what is the meaning of geographical aspects? Geographical aspects will mean looking at it holistically. We have the physical aspects and the non-physical aspects. Now, what generally people do, they always take geographical aspect as merely the physical aspects. But here I am training you, and you are training you to catch up with this key term, the demand of the question, that geographical aspects will mean physical as well as non-physical. For example, physical meaning the relief and a structure, then the climatic regime, this physical climatic regime, the soil the natural vegetation, the drainage, the hydrology. These are the physical aspects. Physical aspects also include geographical aspects also include the locational aspect. Locational. I am not finding place to write, but I hope locational aspect. I hope you are able to make out. So geographical aspect will mean A, locational aspect, B, physical aspect, and C, the non-physical aspect. Now in non-physical aspect you can have the human and economic. The human and economic. Now in economic you can have agriculture, the resource, the developmental aspects, or maybe if some human aspect is there, some environmental aspect is there. So you can write you can identify three different elements of geographical aspects. Now look at the question paper again. So you have northwestern lava plateau and Chota Nagpur plateau. There are two parts of the questions. The central theme is this. Distinguish is the interrogative term. Geographical aspect is the demand. This is the demand. But the reference point is northwestern lava plateau and Chota Nagpur plateau, meaning northwestern lava plateau and Chota Nagpur plateau. These are the reference points. So you have to write the geographical aspect of northwestern lava plateau and Chota. Now what is northwestern lava plateau? Which part? Northwestern lava plateau. We have talked about Deccan Plateau, we have talked about Deccan Trap, and I have told you the difference between Deccan Plateau and Deccan Trap. I hope you remember. Now northwestern India, when we say northwestern India, northwestern lava plateau, which refer to which part? The northern Deccan Trap, and it is saying northern Deccan Trap as well as western Deccan Trap. So it will include the Malwa, the Kathiawar and the Maharashtra plateau. This will be the northwestern Deccan Trap, north as well as western. So northwestern Deccan Trap will include the Malwa plateau also, because Malwa plateau is also covered with Deccan lava, right? So the parts of Malwa and just below it the Vindhyan lands, the Maharashtra plateau, the Kathiawar and Gujarat plains, the Saurashtra region. So this is the area of northwestern plateau. And then Chota Nagpur plateau. Where is Chota Nagpur plateau? It is located east of Son, if you remember. The 100-meter contour line is the northern boundary. 75-meter contour is also considered sometimes. The Hazaribagh Escarpment is the northern boundary of Chota Nagpur plateau. So I have given you in my mains notes the correct demarcation of these plateaus, the geographical demarcations of these plateaus. I hope you remember. So now we have exact idea as to what is the demand of the question and our reference points. Okay. Now geographical aspect of distinguish करना है, differentiate करना है, compare करना है, ऐसे समझो. कंपेयर करना है, डिफरेंशिएट करना है, डिस्टिंग्विश करना है, हाईलाइट करना है, दोनों का की पॉइंट्स हाईलाइट करना है, एंड हाउ these two plateaus are different. Now when we compare the geographical aspects, so we have to, the first paragraph shall be on the location. So the Deccan Trap or the lava plateau is demarcated by 25-degree north latitude. I hope you remember. And then 73-degree east to 82-degree east. So talk about the location and talk about the location of Chota Nagpur plateau, right? Then go to the structure, the geological structure. Now in geological structure, the northwestern lava trap, Deccan trap, which type of basalt and how many layers of basalt, all everything I have talked about it, है ना? Pegmatitic basalt है या amphibolitic basalt है, how many layers are there, what is the average height of this plateau, everything we have discussed in the notes. I hope you remember it. And similarly about the Chotanagpur plateau, we have learned that the geological formation, we have learned that how it is mainly composed of the Gondwana rocks, and how Gondwana rocks are supreme there, are dominating there, and how it is interspersed with the Dharwadian rocks and also the Kadpa rocks and the Vindhyan rocks in the western part. And then we have learned that the northeastern part of this Chotanagpur, that is Raj Mahal Hills, that is the oldest trap of India. That is the oldest basalt of India. Everything you will find in my notes. And you will find these facts even my notes that was dictated, taught some 10 years back. So that was my approach. It's nothing like I have seen this question, I have prepared and then gave you the notes for this batch. No. Even 2016 notes will have all these facts in a similar fashion. But if you are trying to read Khullar or R.C. Tiwari or any Majid Hussain and trying to write on this, you will fail to write. क्या लिखोगे वहां से? कहां पे लिखा हुआ है एनालिसिस करके? नहीं लिखा हुआ है. But in my notes you will find, so have it. I'm talking to my own class. It's not a workshop class. So you can have deep trust on your notes. So as I said, talk about the geological formations, talk about the rock structure, compare them. The Deccan trap is Cretaceous to Miocene, if you remember, and here you have the Gondwana formations and the Dharwadian and the Kadpa. So talk about them, differentiate. That is what distinguishes them. Then you can talk about the Deccan trap, the climatic, the relief features. Then you have to talk about relief feature. So the northwestern Deccan trap, as I have told you, had been deep cut by the rivers, and the deep cut by the rivers have created ridge and valley topography. If you remember, ridge and valley topography I have used for Maharashtra plateau. But if you go to Chotanagpur plateau, it has mesas and butti topography. I hope you remember all this. And when such questions strike in the UPSC examination, I just look at the questions and I always think, every year I think, oh, this is my day. But when I ask my own students ki how you did, how you performed on this, I find them, sir, difficult question aa gaya, sir, pata nahi kya likhna tha isme, sir. I always take a step back. Out of 100, only 20% people, 20% students, my students are able to perform, because there what matters is your spontaneous character, the interlinking, the brain, the powerful brain which interlink different aspects of geography. This is one which is connecting two different regions, but there will be a question where you will find that the physical phenomena has been connected with the human or economic phenomena. So it becomes more challenging there. And you will never find that in books or anywhere such questions will be written. But when I explain, when I talk to my old student who have just written their mains and said, oh my God, I have given you everything and you had to write all these facts only, which was everything in your class note. They are all awestruck. Oh sir, sahi bola sir, galti ho gaya sir. Pata nahi kya, dimag mein nahi aaya sir. So see, it's not about the memorization. It's not about the reading and rereading of the notes. It's about connecting to the notes. It's about linking the notes. It's about recalling the notes. That is where the real challenge lies. Okay. Now, other aspects you can discuss, like, so on the structure I talked about, on the geological structure I compared, then I compared their location, the era, then I compared their the relief features. You can elaborate on that. So they're all so interesting, valid points. Now compare the climatic conditions. And we have done it on the climatic regions of India, climatic map of India. So much work we have done. So you can compare their climatic conditions. So this western plateau is found in the rain shadow area. So the rain is 40 to 60 centimeters. And over Malwa it may exceed 80 centimeters, but generally it is 40 to 60 centimeters. But here Chotanagpur plateau is wet, humid. The rainfall is more than 100 centimeters because I have drawn that 100 centimeter ISO height line and shown that Chotanagpur plateau is lying east of Son, east of 100 centimeter ISO height. So with all this knowledge, you can so easily write the climatic regime which exists. Then talk about the soil which develop over the basaltic lava, the Reguda, the Regur soil, the black cotton soil. Titaniferous magnetic compound is found in that soil, which gives it the black color. The other side, red soil, and over the highlands like parklands, you have laterites. Read the class notes again, I am telling you. You will never miss on anything. Lots of informations are in your class notes. Unbelievable amount of knowledge is in your class notes. You just got to read there and realize what great work we have done together. Go on to compare with anybody. My fate, your fate were tied up. This is how you are my student. Now, having said that, let's discuss the more aspects of it. So, climate, then vegetation. Vegetation, tropical thorn, northwestern Deccan lava plateau, tropical thorn. And here, the monsoon forest, the dry deciduous to moist deciduous forest. Because 100 plus rainfall will always have what? Moist deciduous forest. The Chotanagpur plateau will have, in some patches where drainage is faster, you will have dry deciduous, but largely it is largely it is dry deciduous. Some patches will have moist deciduous also. You can write it has monsoon forest and deciduous forest. So this is how we are doing the comparison. Then you can compare in terms of mineralization of the rocks. Mineralization of the rocks. Why minerals are absent in the Deccan lava? Because it is a late volcanic eruption. Cretaceous period ka eruption hai. It doesn't contain any metalliferous mineral. But here, the other side, the Chotanagpur plateau is full of minerals. So compare in terms of mineralization also. That is where economic geography begins. Okay, but this question has to be limited because the way I am giving you points, you can go on to write a huge essay. But all these points which I referred by far are very essential points. They are the key points and must be mentioned there. Then come to the non-physical aspect, and there you can talk about the agricultural pattern, the cropping pattern which exists over the Deccan lava. After talking about location, geology, structure, relief, right? And then mineralization, more emphasizing on the geological aspect. Then you can move on to the physical aspect, and then you can move to the non-physical aspect also. And there in non-physical aspect, you have compare the cropping pattern there. And if you compare the cropping pattern, the next will be, here you have cotton. Right? There's a black cotton soil and cotton. So you can relate with industrial development. So most of the cotton textile industries are located on this plateau. And here, the other side, the mineral based industries, the heavy industries over Chotanagpur plateau. So both exist as industrial region as well. So there is a lot of distinction between these two plateaus, and maybe possibly if time allows you, the population density aspect you can write, some of the human aspect you can write, the tribalism of and the underdevelopment aspect of the Chotanagpur plateau you can mention. So this is how you can differentiate, and that makes your geography absolutely complete. Right? Now, what will be the format of writing? The format of writing will not be drawing a line. It will never be drawing a line and comparing the two. Aisa nahi karna hai. You don't have to write in this fashion. you have drawn a line and then you are writing here Chota Nagpur Plateau and here the Deccan Plateau and comparison number 1, comparison number 2. It's a wrong method. You have to write in paragraphs. You have to write in paragraphs. Okay, so this is the format of writing. And then next, what all diagrams will be asked. So you have to draw the India map, not this schematic, draw the proper India map. I'm trying to save time. And then delineate the Deccan Plateau with the Chota Nagpur Plateau. Okay, delineate कर दो, दोनों प्लेट्यू को शो करो. And when you show these plateaus, don't only show with shades. You have to show here the Parasnath has the peak, and here in Maharashtra you can show some of the hills which are found. Maybe you can show the rivers which are flowing. So rivers, this is called relief map. So instead of showing the shaded map or only locational map, you can show the relief map. There is a huge difference between the two. If you show the relief map, this will create magic. And if you only the shaded map, only the the boundary demarcation map, that is good but not excellent. I hope you understood this also. And then there could be another map, like when I talked about the Partland topography. So you can create Partland topography. For the Chota Nagpur Plateau is having Partland topography, and the Mesa and Booty topography. So you can create that for for Chota Nagpur Plateau. And for Ridge and Valley topography for your, so you can show the topographical map to differentiate them. So few maps can be drawn here. Now what to write in conclusion? And this question doesn't demand any of the so-called current affair. It has nothing to do with current affair. कहाँ चला गया? ये है शायद. It has nothing to do with current affairs. But you have to conclude with reference to, conclusion में क्या आएगा? Environmental aspects को लाओ. You have to bring in the environmental aspects for conclusion. How the Chota Nagpur Plateau has been degraded, degenerated because of deforestation, shifting cultivation, slash and burn agriculture, bring all these aspects, excavation for minerals, mining, etc. And how the over irrigation in the northwestern plateau for agriculture, for sugarcane cultivation, how it has created waterlogging issues and etc. So you can talk about the environmental aspect and then conclude. But the demand of the question was to compare, to distinguish between the eastern and western plateau in terms of their geology, climatic condition, soil vegetation, and the cropping aspect, and some of the environmental aspect. I hope this question is clear to you, and I hope it will just open up your minds and open up your it will give you the right avenue to reach your destination. Destination obviously is to score 320, 330. Now tell me, अगर तुम ऐसा लिखते हो as suggested, where is the scope of cutting marks or reducing marks? The examiner should be elated, should be delighted with the way you approached this question, the way you understood this question, the way you wrote on this question, and he will give you the marks which you deserve. मुझे ये बार बार डिस्टर्ब करते रहता है यानी डिस्क भेज करके. चलो बताओ, how many understood this particular question? Looking at the second question, which is in Q, I will see the other question papers also. 2012 question. Explain the structural characteristic of the Deccan Plateau. Again, the central explain, interrogative term is explain. Explain meaning elaborate. A structural characteristic, this is the demand. A structural characteristics is the demand of the Deccan Plateau. Now here the question is not on Deccan Trap, but Deccan Plateau, and there is a difference. When we say Deccan Plateau, anything which is south of Satpura as per your NCERT. Anything which is south of Satpura is Deccan, right? And when we talk about Deccan Plateau, it will not include Satpura. So more correctly it can be stated that anything which is south of Tapi is the Deccan Plateau. Now no one should argue with me, because I have already explained to you what is Deccan region, and Deccan region will include anything south of Narmada. That's Deccan. I hope you remember my concept of Deccan region, Deccan Plateau, Deccan Trap. I have given you distinction for all, demarcating methods for all. So you have to have in your memory that when the question is asked on Deccan Plateau, your NCERT says south of Satpura. I have given you south of Tapi. Both could be correct depending upon the way you look at things. So south of Tapi is your Deccan. Now Deccan Plateau includes what all? Maharashtra Plateau is a part of Deccan? Yes. And what are the properties of Maharashtra Plateau? So here Deccan Plateau has to be divided into Maharashtra Plateau, Telangana, Rayalaseema, Karnataka Plateau, Tamil Nadu Plateau. They all will make the Deccan Plateau. Right? So this question of 2012, as it is shown here, is will include the explicit description of Maharashtra Plateau, Telangana, Rayalaseema also. Don't forget to write on Rayalaseema. I've given you a special notes on Rayalaseema. 4 districts and the river which is draining it, and rock formation, that is Kadpa rocks, and the mineralization. Even on Rayalaseema I have given you decent amount of fact. Okay. On Maharashtra Plateau, it is needless to tell you that how much I have talked about Maharashtra Plateau. and the Karnataka Plateau, I have divided Karnataka Plateau into 2 parts, the Malnad or Malnad, पता नहीं क्या बोलते हैं, Malnad or the Maidan. The Maidan region is the eastern part. The Malnad is the hilly part, okay? The 100 centimeter rainfall, ISO height differentiate from Western Ghat to Malnad. I mean, remember all those facts. Go on to read all those facts. They're all exclusive facts, not found in your general books, but found in your notes. So, looking at the question, a structural characteristic it is asking. A structural. Now here, there is no point discussing the rainfall, the vegetation, because that has not been demanded. The human aspect, no, it has not been demanded. What is the demand of the question? A structural aspect. Now what is the meaning of a structure? I have given you in my first class in geomorphology the meaning of a structure. The meaning of a structure is A, the geotectonic features, B, the physico-chemical properties of the rocks, and C, the lithostratigraphical characteristics. याद है या नहीं ये तो तुम्हारे ऊपर डिपेंडेंट है, बट स्ट्रक्चर का मीनिंग यही है. Now if you understand the meaning of a structure and a structural characteristics, then here what all aspects you have to write? Simple. Talk about the geological formation, how the lava has emerged and what are the layers of lava also. Talk about the average elevation. A structure includes altitude. A structure includes slope and slope angle. A structure includes the concept of relief in itself. So you have to talk about the average height, the slope, the layerification, the rock composition, the rock stratification, lithology. Talk about all those. कौन सा रॉक सिस्टम है, कैसे है, रॉक में मिनरल्स कौन सा है, titaniferous magnetic compound which gives it the black color. Go to Telangana, Archean crystalline rocks, nahin, gneiss rocks, metamorphic rocks, Precambrian rocks. Talk about a structure. Then it is an example of penny plain. It has rounded hills. Talk about everything. Nahin, how rivers have carved out their valleys and how distinct features, monadnocks have emerged over Telangana, especially near Hyderabad. I have mentioned all this. These are about where is the slope and the slope, how slope is gently sloping towards, gently inclined towards east and little southeast. That is shown by the rivers and which all rivers are draining there. The drainage pattern which has developed is rectangular drainage है वहाँ पे. Talk about all this. This is the structure. Rayalaseema, I already talked about. It is the Kadpa rocks and the mineralization, etc. And Kadpa is the earliest, the oldest sedimentary rock of India. Not the earliest. Earliest was Dharwad, but Dharwad has been metamorphosed. So today we find Kadpa to be the oldest sedimentary rock system. Similarly for Malnad and Malnad, the granitic gneiss country, the Charnokite rocks. So write about all the structure. You will get full marks. Draw the diagrams, should demarcate the One India map and demarcate all those all these plateaus. You will get very good high marks for it also. This was 2012 question. Now coming to more questions. 2012 के नीचे जाऊं क्या? I have to see the new set of questions which are asked these days. कहाँ गए? तो this is all about कितना सारा क्वेश्चन डाल दिया है. आई थिंक पूरा सिलेबस का डाल दिया है ये. वेट. अरे यार ये क्या डाल दिया है? थॉर्नफिट आ रहा है भाई. Just a minute, I'm looking for recent questions. I have directed my office staffs कि भाई तुम recent questions लगा देना. ये तो पूरा का पूरा डाल दिया. हाँ, इधर तो कुछ लग रहा है. 2017 क्वेश्चन यहाँ दिखा मुझे. 2017 क्वेश्चन. Justify the Meghalaya in Peninsular India and देखो this wonderful question. 2017 क्वेश्चन पिकअप करते हैं. 2017 में तो बहुत सारा क्वेश्चन आया हुआ है फिजिकल से. और justify the inclusion of Meghalaya in Peninsular India and discuss its vegetation and soil type. कितना शानदार क्वेश्चन पूछा है. How do you answer such questions from books? I really wonder sometime. Question is, justify the inclusion of Meghalaya in peninsular India, meaning how the Shillong Plateau is part of peninsula and how emphatically I have taught you that the Shillong Plateau, the Garo, Khasi, Jayantia is not part of, even Mikir, Rengma are not part of the Himalayan ranges. We have clearly demarcated in our classes, right? So Garo, Khasi, Jayantia, Mikir, Rengma are part of our peninsula. We have talked about the Ras Mahal Garo Gap, the subduction zone, the Malda Fault, which separates the Meghalaya Plateau with Chotanagpur Plateau and Ras Mahal Hills. The Ras Mahal is in the western side and the Garo Hills the other side, and there is a Ras Mahal Garo Gap, the zone of subduction from where the joint streams of Ganga and Brahmaputra is flowing. I hope you remember. So here you have to come out with certain scientific points as to why Meghalaya Plateau, how geologically it is connected with the peninsula. Now, from the peninsular rock system, I have given you 2 points in my notes. A, that Meghalaya Plateau is extension of Chotanagpur Plateau, and because of the formation of Ras Mahal Garo Gap in the wake of Himalayan upliftment, कैसे सबडक्शन हुआ, कैसे छोटानागपुर का अपलिफ्टमेंट हुआ, मैंने सब समझाया हुआ है. तो हाउ द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ राज महल गारो गैप separated it from the peninsular structure, but geologically it is part of peninsula because it is made of Dharwadian rocks. Very specifically, I have mentioned that Meghalayan plateau, this Garo Khasi Jayantia, is actually composed of, predominantly it is Dharwadian rocks. And then I have talked about the geological extension of Eastern Ghats. Eastern Ghats are basically younger contemporaries to the Aravalis. And we have learned the formation of Eastern Ghats. Okay, so the Eastern Ghats actually extend from where? From the Gudalur, Nilgiri to northern Sirkars, and alongside it extends towards the Khasi hills, the Garo Khasi Jayantia hills, and Mikir and Rengma. This is all Eastern Ghat range. This is all Eastern Ghat range. So this Meghalaya plateau is partly the Chotanagpur plateau, extension of the Chotanagpur plateau. It is composed of Dharwadian rocks, and it is also partly it is the southern part of it. The southern part of it, the escarplands of Meghalaya plateau is basically made of the Eastern Ghat, extension of Eastern Ghat or Eastern Ghat orogenesis. This question is specifically demanding you includes why Meghalaya should be included in Peninsular Plateau. So reason number 1 is it is extension of, reason number 2, Dharwadian extension of Chotanagpur, B, Dharwadian rocks are there, and C, Eastern Ghat orogenesis is also found there. So you have to justify, so that will be one paragraph. This question is still demanding something more. Discuss its vegetation and soil type. Now come to the second point. Discuss the vegetation. What is the vegetation? It will depend upon the rainfall. Soil will depend upon the geology and the rainfall and the vegetation. So the vegetation here will be moist deciduous. Why it is moist deciduous? What are the properties of moist deciduous? How much rain is required? How much temperature is required? Write all those facts. So when you write on vegetation, you have to write on the climatic condition there, the rainfall regime, the temperature conditions there, and the vegetation type, which all dominant species are found there. कौन सा डोमिनेंट स्पीसीज है वहां पे, सब लिखवाया हुआ है नोट्स में. वेजिटेशन का तुम उठाओगे नोट, सब मिलना शुरू हो जाएगा. तो राइट अबाउट वेजिटेशन. The second paragraph will be on vegetation. Then the last paragraph will be on the soil type. What is the soil type? क्या है soil? This you are writing, Swati is writing famous for rat hole mining. But where to write? देखो यही तो होता है कि तुम लोग कहाँ से क्या. मैंने I have talked about rat hole mining for Meghalaya. I have talked about the uranium mineral there in Khasi Hills. But why? Where to write rat hole mining? What is the point writing on rat hole mining here? You don't have to write on rat hole mining. ये सब नहीं लिखना है. वो तो मान लो कि if the next year the question is demanding the environmental aspect of Meghalaya plateau, then you will have to write on the excavations in the rat hole mining. So my notes will cover up everything, every question. वो हर question का जवाब उसमें है. You have to pick facts as per the demand of the questions which are asked. I hope you understand this, and this is very much important for you to understand the scheme of my notes. Don't read my notes like a layman कि layman पढ़ लिया 10 लाइन याद हो गया. उस 10 लाइन में 10 डिफरेंट क्वेश्चंस हो सकता है, पीटी के लिए भी, मेंस के लिए भी, है ना. तो whatever is demanded, maybe on Meghalaya Plateau, I have talked about Meghalaya Plateau and its formation in the geological aspect of peninsula. In physiographic aspect, I am talking about rat hole mining and Dharwadian rocks, etc. So you have to take few points from my geological discussion on geology and geological structure, then discussion on physiography, discussion on vegetation, discussion from the soil map of India. So from all where you have to take these facts and put it in one, club it in one. This is why I'm saying that interlinking of the entire geographical knowledge will be very important for you to write your mains. Okay. So you have justify the inclusion of Meghalaya and Peninsula and the soil. What is the soil type? Soil type will be, since rainfall is 150 plus and it's a plateau, and the rainfall is monsoon type, meaning summertime rainfall and winter time. So it will have leaching, and leaching will produce that laterite soil. So either it has red soil because of the Dharwadian rocks, will produce red soil. Peninsular rocks generally have red soil, but intermittently it will have laterites also. So it will have largely lateritic soil and red soil. Write about it, write about the properties of the soil as well. Don't just write that it has laterite or red soil. Talk about the properties of it, has how it has developed the iron pan, and it will be acidic soil. Maybe if soil has been asked, you can talk about one or two crops as well. That makes it completely geographical, and conclude it by the environmental problems of Meghalaya Plateau. कुछ एक लाइन में environmental problems पे लिख सकते हो तुम. समझ में आया कि नहीं आएगा? Please respond. I am running out of steam because speaking vigorously for 1 hour or 1.5 hours without any gap, I mean, it will take toll on my body and mind. I will take up one more question. Give a reasoned account of unusual pattern of distribution of monsoon rainfall in India in 2007. देखो एक current question था ये, but देखो ये बहुत interesting question है. This will simply enlighten you. 2017 question. Give a reasoned account of. You have to provide reasoning. Yeah, reasoned account. Reasoned account. The moment it is account, you have to write this question. You can write this question in point form. Point form. Or maybe you can write in a small paragraphs also. In a small paragraphs you can write. Okay. Now, unusual pattern of distribution of monsoon rainfall in 2017. Now, to many it will look like a current question कि भाई 2017 का monsoon rainfall का unusual pattern पूछा. But I tell you, this question comes from the variability of monsoon rainfall. Now, what is variability of rainfall? What are the causes behind variability of rainfall? Once you have learned all this, then you can write it for any year. Not only for 2000. In 2017, there must be, say, El Nino effect, and there was erratic rainfall. Right? Now, El Nino we have discussed at length. I've given you two models on El Nino and the Walker cell and the native Indian dipole, how it will affect, how it will influence the rainfall pattern in India. So if that is traditional, I mean, in 2017, El Nino has occurred and influenced the rainfall pattern, doesn't mean that El Nino is current affair. ऐसा तो नहीं है ना. El Nino has come previously and we have good research on El Nino. So all those points which you have learned in your class note about El Nino and its influence, they all will be valid. Right? And second thing, this question is also demanding the distribution, the spatial distribution, the spatial pattern of rainfall. The monsoon rainfall will have two types of variability. One is the spatial, another is temporal. Temporal. What this question is demanding is the distribution pattern, meaning a spatial pattern, a spatial variability पे ये question है. A spatial variability has been demanded. Now, what all factors are responsible for a spatial variability? 2017 must have been an El Nino year, and in El Nino year में क्या होता है? तो you have to write on El Nino the Walker cell. Walker cell में क्या हुआ होगा? El Nino effect कैसा था? The negative Indian dipole, ये सब, and the role of jet, the role of easterly jet, the location of ITCZ, ये जो पूरा फ्रेम में पढ़ाया हुआ है, similar set of factors will be applied here. Okay, so remember it कि ऐसा लग रहा है देख करके कि ये current question है, and I really agree that it was asked on the rainfall pattern which had just happened, because it has been asked for the same year. June, July, August was rain. The examination was conducted in the month of October, and there was a question on the July rainfall. So it is definitely current affair. It must have come in the newspaper. But the analysis which I had given in 2015 was still valid for this. So to me, it's not really a current affair. You have to be aware of the current developments. That's it. Rest you have to write the core geography, and say you have deep knowledge of El Nino phenomena, the way we have learned in the class. So if you have good knowledge of El Nino phenomena and negative dipole and Walker cell and INSO and everything, when you have knowledge, then any article coming in Hindu newspaper on the rainfall pattern for this year or any year will be so easy for you to learn. You can just have a go at it and remember, okay, ऐसा हो गया था, है ना? And current affair also becomes very easy. But people who have no idea of, who have no deep learning of El Nino, etc., they always will be struggling. जब तक कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव मॉडल नहीं पता है ज्योग्राफी का, तब तक करंट अफेयर क्या हो सकता है उस पर. दिस क्वेश्चन टू मी इज डेफिनेटली फ्रॉम द करंट ईयर, बट इट इज नॉट इन्वॉल्विंग एनी great degree of current knowledge. You can still write on the basis of fundamental things. That is what I was trying to tell you in the beginning, and I am promising you to come back with more such question paper and question paper discussions. Thank you for today. I am surely running out of steam. I need a big cup of coffee, and then since I am with you always, you can always demand any question, and we can have more such discussions in the coming days, right? I hope you will feel confident and you will do well in the mains examination. All the best. Wish you great success for civil services. Thank you.